Voice Show is a dialogue between the host and the listeners about their relationships. This show is not an attempt to assess, diagnose, or treat any mental health or illness condition. Please consult your physician, psychiatrist, or psychotherapist for personal matters.
Hello, listeners. This is Christopher from The Christopher Show. Hey, if you missed one of our shows here at KMET, don't worry about it. You can go to our webpage, and that's KMET1490am.com. Go to the homepage, click on the SoundCloud tab, and hear any show anytime you want. Slugbug Pest Control serving Southern California. Slugbug Pest Control has over 30 years experience with all your pest control needs. Insects, rodents, those pesky uninvited critters into your home. Senior and military discounts are available. Remember, Slugbug Pest Control, 951-385-7832. Once again, 951-385-7832.
Top Line Industrial Supply, your destination for industrial tools and supplies. We make hoses while you wait, hydraulic, air, water, and custom brake lines. Take advantage of our large selection of fasteners from grade 5 to grade F911 and a full line of stainless steel bolts. Our no-cost outside shop service keeps you stocked at no extra charge. Come by one of our 2 convenient locations in Beaumont and Temecula and visit top-lineindustrial.com. At Top Line Industrial, we don't just sell products, we sell solutions.
Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inner Voice Show. I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine, and I have Sean in studio. This is a show about what matters most in life, our mind, our thoughts, feelings, actions, relationships, and our fulfillment in this beautiful journey of life. So in this show, I will bring you the latest research about bullying among adolescents and teens, and then I will speak to DeAndre Austin, the creator of upcoming visual novel series and animation cartoon named Gym Rat Squad. You can call us both, and you can talk to us on studio line 951-922-3532. Now, go on my podcast. You hear this show on podcast. Tell your friends, if they're not listening to us on the radio, to go on the podcast, Foojan Zeine, the Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. And whether you're on iTunes or Stitcher, subscribe to it. Please give me some rating. Tell me what you like. Tell me, email me and let me know. Go on Foojan.com and be in conversation with me. I love to hear from you. And by the way, if you're seeing that my background has changed, it's because I'm not in Orange County today, and I'm actually in Vegas. I wish I could show you. The background's just beautiful on one of these towers, and I'm here to write my next book. So I've got 10 days of just sitting down here and writing, and I wrote 12 hours yesterday. So wish me luck. It's going to be great. And we'll be right back with the tip of the week, actually.
Hello, I'm Dr. Foojan, and I have great news for you. I'm offering a special time-limited offer to anyone who's interested in online therapy or coaching sessions. I've developed the awareness integration model, which allows in only 12 weeks to raise your self-esteem and confidence and let go of your thoughts and emotions that produce depression and anxiety for you. So call today to schedule your online session and save $600. Call me today at 818-648-2140. That's 818-648-2140. Or go to www.foojan.com.
So I've been working on and noticing that the concept that people don't take what comes out of their mouth seriously. Yeah, seriously. Interestingly enough, we take other people's sayings as important and will react to it with our own perceptions. We tend to believe when someone promises us something, but will give many promises which we are not intending to keep. We tend to get hurt by other people's demeaning comments toward us, but constantly give demeaning comments to our mates, our children, family members, friends, coworkers, employees, bosses, and humanity at large. Like people are this and people are that. And then we justify it as I'm angry, I'm just being honest with everyone, or I was just joking. What's wrong with you? You can't handle it. Like we tend to rely on people's words, but change our mind constantly about what we have told others we will do for them without recognizing the consequence that they have to pay for relying on us based on our words, and justify it somehow as if they shouldn't have taken us seriously in the first place. Yet, if someone does not take us seriously or lose trust in our words, we will be hurt, furious, victimized, and so on. So the truth is, what you say matters. It is your representation. No one is inside your bubble to know what's going on with you and your thoughts and intentions or your emotions. It is you that is fully responsible for sharing with others the truth of you, who you are. So your talk is the form of action. When your talk matches your other actions, then people can trust you and rely on you. When your talk is different than your actions, people will question you and lose confidence and trust in your intention and ultimately your character. You can own your way of representation and be conscious of how you come across to people, or you will become irrelevant very soon to many people. So say what you mean. Say it so that it lands on another person's world the way you mean it, and you're not responsible for the other person's perception of what you said or what you meant. However, you are responsible for how you come across, your words, your tonality, and your intentions and body language. So choose them. Choose your words. Choose your tonality, intention, and body language. People form relationships through their words. For creating a solid and healthy relationship, watch what you say. Now, children create their world and their life based on their parents and other people's words, their teachers. Societies, ideologies, laws are all built on words. Words are important, so use them appropriately. We'll be right back with the latest research.
Join the conversation every Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific for Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Dr. Foojan is a radio and TV host, international speaker, psychotherapist, life coach, and the author of Life Reset, The Awareness Path to Create the Life You Want. She brings you the latest research and interviews with experts in the field of cognitive sciences. Anyone who loves to grow and create growth for humanity gets a voice on this call-in show. Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Monday afternoons at 3 p.m. Pacific on Smart Talk KMET 1490 AM and on KMET1490AM.com.
Welcome back to the Inner Voice Show. I have two research for you today. So the first one is teens who experience cyberbullying are more likely to suffer from poor sleep, which in turn raises the level of their depression, found in a study in the University of Buffalo. So although research has examined the relationship between online bullying and depression, this research is one of the few to explore the connection between cyber victimization and sleep quality. The study surveyed more than 800 adolescents for sleep quality, cyber aggression, and depression. So cyber victimization on the internet and social media is a unique form of peer victimization and an emerging mental health concern among teens who are digital natives. Understanding these associations supports the need to provide sleep hygiene education, and risk prevention and interventions to mistreated kids who show signs and symptoms of depression. Nearly 1/3 of teens have experienced symptoms of depression, which in addition to changes in sleep pattern include persistent irritability, anger, and social withdrawal, according to the U.S. Office of Adolescent Health. Nearly 15% of U.S. high school students report being bullied electronically at severe levels. Depression may lead to disrupted school performance, harmed relationships, or suicide. Now, the risk of allowing depression to worsen highlights the need for researchers and clinicians to understand and target sleep quality and other risk factors that have the potential to exacerbate the disorder. The second research. It is, again, about bullying with adolescents. So name calling, hair pulling, or cyberbullying. About 1/10 of adolescents across the globe, this isn't just the US, across the globe have been the victim of psychological or physical violence from classmates at least once in their lives. A new study carried out by the researchers at Martin Luther University has shown that victims and their perpetrators both suffer as a result of these attacks. Interesting. Most people thought it would just be the perpetrators. They're more inclined to consume alcohol and tobacco and are more likely to complain of psychosomatic problems, and their chances of having problems with their social environment increases also. In the scientific journal Children and Youth Services Review, the researchers plead for prevention programs to place more emphasis, cohesion within the classrooms. Dr. Annette Wolgast and Mathis Donat, two of the MLU's educational psychology scientists, wanted to find out whether there were any differences in the way various cultures and countries handled being bullied and whether boys dealt with it in a different manner than girls. So to do this, they compared data provided by the World Health Organization, who had asked approximately 3,000 adolescents from each country about their lives as part of an extensive study conducted over a number of years. The data included information on any bullying the adolescent had experienced from other students, but also details of alcohol and tobacco consumption, psychosomatic complaints, and how easy they found it to talk to their other friends and how they viewed the social support of their classrooms. The researchers looked at responses from adolescents living in Germany, Greece, and the United States, and were collected during several different survey periods. So the scientists picked these 3 countries because they believe these nations each manifest togetherness very differently. And they see that the USA as rather individualistic, Greece as very collectivist, and Germany as somewhere in between. So the analysis revealed that adolescents' behavior and problems are similar in all 3 countries. Wow. So it is part of the phase of life conversation. It isn't just about the culture or where they are. If it's the same in every single country, then obviously it's part of the adolescents' power struggle that at that age, that they're trying to experience superiority or inferiority, and that's how they experience it. So as approximately 9% of the boys and girls had repeatedly experienced physical or psychological attacks from other students. Dr. Wolgast said none of the 3 countries can be used as a model for dealing with the problem, because they didn't really deal with the problem. We were shocked by the stability that transcends culture and different periods of time. So another thing that the researchers wanted to take a closer look was the connection between bullying from students and various other factors. Here they focused on the adolescent risk behavior, especially their alcohol and tobacco consumption, and whether they had suffered or were still suffering from psychosomatic complaints in their body, such as stomach aches, headaches, back pains, or depression. So the scientists also analyzed how perpetrators and victims interacted with their social environment. Did they find it easy to talk to friends? How did they view the support from their class or their social environment? And the result indicated that boys and girls are just as likely as each other to consume alcohol and smoke cigarettes when they have been in the victim of verbal and physical abuse. Girls are slightly more inclined to internalize problems and therefore have more stomach aches or headaches. And the academics were surprised by the fact that perpetrators and victims mentioned similar problems with their environments. Both groups found it difficult to talk to friends and classmates, and they also both felt they had little support from their environment. The fact that perpetrators and victims experienced similar problems to each other is remarkable. These findings could be useful and to devise some sort of a preventive and prevention strategies. By this, that means that the current measures should target communication between adolescents more to improve the classroom and the atmosphere in the classroom, and said that one way of encouraging this could be asking students in a class to adhere to rules that they have come up with themselves. So the mutual support would actually play a great role in them being a part of it, and then obviously creating that type of a society. So I hope that those two researchers were helpful if you have teenagers. So now you know that this type of bullying or things that happen between them it's rough. Adolescents are going through a lot of rough times. So if you're a parent, I hope that you watch for them. If you are a teacher, I hope that you take those into consideration and hopefully do something about it in your classroom. Our guest is important in this area, and that's why I picked those researchers, because I think that our guest actually have some idea about what to do, and he's actually doing it. So we're going to be back with our guest, DeAndre Austin. He's a creator and founder of an upcoming graphic novel series and animation cartoon named Gym Rat Squad. So in 2014, he earned his bachelor's degree in science and graphic design from the Art Institute of California in Orange County. Austin founded Gym Rat Squad in 2007 based on his life experience as a student athlete. Gym Rat Squad's powerful storyline is about breaking the trap for inner city youth and comes from his firsthand experience, actually, his own life. Through his youth nonprofit organization, Team GRS, Austin found a way to pass his life experience to young people following in his own footsteps. Gym Rat Squad's goal is to help youth develop self-discipline and confidence to overcome life obstacles. Austin aims to encourage the young people to be consistent in practicing good habits when learning life skills. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with DeAndre Austin.
Hello, I'm Dr. Foojan, and I have great news for you. I'm offering a special time-limited offer to anyone who's interested in online therapy or coaching sessions. I've developed the awareness integration model, which allows in only 12 weeks to raise your self-esteem and confidence and let go of your thoughts and emotions that produce depression and anxiety for you. So call today to schedule your online session and save $600. Call me today at 818-648-2140. That's 818-648-2140. Or go to www.foojan.com.
Hello, listeners. This is Christopher from The Christopher Show. Hey, if you missed one of our shows here at KMET, don't worry about it. You can go to our webpage, and that's KMET1490am.com. Go to the homepage, click on the SoundCloud tab, and hear any show anytime you want.
Dr. Foojan Zeine is a psychotherapist, a marriage and family therapist, and a life coach with more than 27 years of experience. She is the author of the Awareness Integration Model, which has been researched and published in numerous international journals. Dr. Foojan has offices in Beverly Hills, Irvine, and Woodland Hills, California, and also consults online and by telephone. Make an appointment with her today by calling 818-648-2140 or go online to www.foojan.com. That's www.foojan.com. Join the conversation every Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific for Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Dr. Foojan is a radio and TV host, international speaker, psychotherapist, life coach, and the author of Life Reset, The Awareness Path to Create the Life You Want. She brings you the latest research and interviews with experts in the field of cognitive sciences. Anyone who loves to grow and create growth for humanity gets a voice on this call-in show. Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Monday afternoons at 3 p.m. Pacific on Smart Talk KMET 1490 AM and on KMET1490am.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inner Voice Show. I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine, and I am excited to have DeAndre Austin with me. Hi, DeAndre. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Foojan. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, of course. I just met you, and it was interesting to me because you started talking about who you are and your passion about your project and things that you are doing was contagious. And as I was just sitting listening to you, and I'm like, this dude is up to something. And it's like, and I remember at the end, I said, well, the only way that I can support you in your dream is to have you on my show because, you're up to something. And it is so important what you're up to that I think your voice should be heard. And I think that you need to be supported in what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about you. And then from there, tell us about Gym Rat Squad.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? First, thank you for, sharing your platform with me and giving me the opportunity to share my story and to share my background and what I'm doing in the community through Gym Rat Squad and Team GRS 501c3. So I'm truly grateful for that and thank you.
Well, thank you for showing up
yes,
and doing all that you do.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about your background because I know that your background really matters in why you're doing what you're doing, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm from the city of Compton, born and raised. I was raised by my mother and my grandparents. And so, growing up in Compton, and I ended up going to middle school in the city of Lakewood because my mom, she wanted me to go to schools in Compton. I went to a private school in elementary school. I went to First Christian Day School. So my mom was okay with me going to a private school in Compton. But when it was time for me when it got closer to me going to middle school, she didn't want me to go to any of the middle schools and high schools in Compton because of the dangerous environment, even though, I played sports. And so my mom eventually moved to Lakewood, and I went to middle school in Lakewood, Cerritos area on the border. And I went there. My mom, she felt comfortable, with that area. And then we ended up moving back to Compton. And I went to my last year middle school in Cerritos. And then I ended up going to Artesia High School. And then eventually my mom moved back to Lakewood in my junior year in high school. So, I grew up in of course, Compton. Everyone knows the type of environment Compton is.
Please share. I'm not sure if everybody knows what let's put it this way, DeAndre. I think people have a stereotype in their head. But in order to get away from that stereotype and really hear the experience that you would have, or any, let's say, a child, a teenager will experience growing up, tell us.
Well, you know what? Compton is a middle class area. So when you go through there, it's like, dang, I mean, I hear bad things about it, but, it looks nice, which is true. Also, at the same time, it's all predicated on the type of support you have, too. Growing up in Compton, in the city of Compton, there's a lot of disadvantages and lack of opportunities and resources to be able to succeed. And I was fortunate enough to have a mentor and a coach who saw my potential in basketball and took me under his wing. We do have quite a few mentors in the city of Compton that want to help the youth, and but the resources is kind of hard, to attain, to be able to support these kids that are in the inner city, who want to be a doctor, lawyer, or pro athlete, or an actor, but the resources, it's not there. And so for me, I was fortunate enough to have the support of my mother, and she was on my tail, and my grandparents and Coach Jackie Myers. I was fortunate enough to have him pick me up after school, take me to the gym, help me with my homework. And then he taught me how to, shoot jump shots, my ball handling, those type of things. So he turned me into a gym rat. And we all know, the time that a lot of youth, middle school students, high school students get in trouble is after school. So it's between 2:45 and 6 o'clock. So there's a gap in between that time. And you have a lot of the parents, they're working, at that time. So the children really don't have any supervision between the time they get out of school at like 2:45, 3 o'clock, between 5:30 or perhaps 6 o'clock or 5:45. And so that's a lot of time to be able to get into some sort of trouble if there aren't enough after school programs.
Yes.
A lot of every young person is not into sports. They have different passions. And I noticed in high schools and junior high schools, they took away electives.
Yeah, art, music.
Yeah. So that's like setting our younger generation up for failure. Yeah. So what I do with my project and my program, Gym Rat Squad, I donate my time and visit a lot of classrooms and after school programs and share with youth my story. Mm-hmm. And Gym Rat Squad, Gym Rat Squad, it's have so many layers, and the message and the metaphor behind it is so deep, and the way it came to me in a dream my last year playing pro basketball in Brazil. I was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Americana, and I fell asleep watching soccer highlights. And I was watching the soccer player named Ronaldinho Gaucho. And I had asked my teammates prior, are there any soccer players that do like soccer ball tricks like the N1 basketball players do with the basketball? And so when they mentioned Ronaldinho Gaucho's name, I said, no, I never heard of him.
So but I got to see him.
Yes, but I got to see him. And it just so happened that night they told me to watch ESPN highlights, and I did. Uh-huh. And I watched him. And I was watching how he was weaving through the soccer field with the soccer ball, doing these tricks and making the other players fall. So I fell asleep watching that. And they say normally the last thing you watch before you fall asleep is what you dream about. And so that's what happened. So I had Ronaldinho Gaucho in my mind, doing those tremendous things with the soccer ball. And then it switched from me doing those things on the basketball court. But instead of kicking the soccer ball, I was dribbling the basketball. And then it turned from me to a rat character dribbling the ball up the court, being full court pressed by traps and stepping on them and breaking them. Oh. So I woke up out of my sleep and I'm like, what the heck did I just dream? I'm like, wow. So I was afraid to go back to sleep, because if I would have gone back to sleep, I would have forgot what I dreamt. And so I was running down the hall, banging on my teammates' doors, asking them for like a pen and a piece of paper. This was like 3 o'clock in the morning. They thought I was crazy. So finally, I was able to get access to a pen and the brown toilet papers, that brown paper towels.
Yeah.
And so I wrote down what I saw and I kind of sketched it.
Wow.
And so at that time, I had this mental block because, I was really pursuing my professional basketball career to be an NBA player. But, it just wasn't God's will. And so as time went on and my time of playing, the window closed, I had to do something else. And so I decided to go back to art school to get my degree. That was a couple years later. And so as I checked into art school, I began to realize my work ethic in school from sports it carried over into school. And that's how I developed the revelation of like, wow, of that dream, what it meant. Mm-hmm. And subconsciously in my sleep at that time in 2007, that was me, no matter what the obstacles were ahead of me, by any means, I was going to persevere and succeed and overcome those obstacles. And so in the game of basketball and me being a combo guard, there's a part of the game to where the opponent, they put out like a full court defense. And so their goal is to trap you and to prevent you from getting the ball over on your end of the floor to have an opportunity to score. So if they can stop you or keep you on their end of the court for 10 seconds, that's a violation. They get the ball or they try to steal it. So when breaking the trap in sports and in basketball, strategically, that takes practice. And the more you practice breaking the trap and getting in these different formations, you need your other teammates to be able to swing the ball around to strategically, maneuver to get to the other side to have an opportunity to score. So to be able to use that analogy of breaking the trap and applying that from basketball to real life, it's the same thing. And so, a gym rat, I'm like, I've always been a gym rat. A gym rat kept me out of the streets. It kept me out of gangs because I had a mentor who invested his time into me to teach me those skills, to move along the right path. And I think every young person needed. And
absolutely. I think that what you say is very important because I think that, and before you came on, I was sharing with our audience about two of the research that had came out about bullying across the world. And I know that part of what we have an idea about are pockets of neighborhoods that we think, oh, it only happens there. But, these studies are showing that bullying is happening everywhere. And it's happening in all countries. And it's not just, United States. So it is a part of that age, like around age 10, 11, 12, we're finding first rationalization, and then we're finding this concept that we want to do what they call superiority, inferiority, like I'm powerful and I want to show you that I'm powerful also, and I'll do it the only way that I know. Like somebody can go to sports, somebody can just beat the crap out of somebody, or, there are different ways that if we've had violence in our own home, then we'll show it through violence. If we've had drugs in our home, then we'll show it that way. Yep. But that's also the time that peers are very important. So we listen to our peers, we watch it, and if we see a group that are more powerful, we want to go and do whatever they're doing. Right. And if we feel powerless at that moment, we might fold. Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm hearing from you and your experience was that when you looked at people who came to your life and they were powerful, such as the mentors, and then they were showing you the path that if you wanted to make somebody out of yourself and make a difference in the world, there are other paths to do it, whether it was school or whether it was sports or whether, it's music for some group, it's art for some group. Any of those are a way that the person can start building their kind of like self and identity and feel useful in the society that they are. Absolutely. And this is how you found it. You found that I can be useful. Not only that I found my power, but, like you said, life has its ups and downs. We're on our way to go to NBA and then suddenly life changes and we're no longer going. So the goals have to change. We're constantly shifting and changing the goals. And then you found that how can I be a contribution to people in the way that I've experienced? And I'm sensing that what you learned from a discipline, responsibility, accountability, moving forward against all odds and against everybody being in front of you, not letting you do things, that you got to find the strategy to go and to get your goal. You're bringing all of that from sports into people's home. Not only that you go to schools and talk as a speaker, but also now you've decided I'm gonna go to a place where I know all kids love to watch. Yeah. So I'm not gonna go only to school. I'm gonna go in their homes, in a different way, and that's where the novel series animation cartoon came up for you, called Gym Rat Squad. And you've created really, really adorable and amazing animations that you've sent some of the pictures to me, and I'm sure Sean has them, and maybe he can show it to our audience as time goes on. So tell me a little bit about how going to art school and bringing all of these together then got you to want to do this animation cartoon and do it as a series. And I know that there's a lot of valuable and wise wisdom that is coming through all of it. So can you share a bit with us?
Well, it's interesting that you said that. The power of this project, I really focus on the tagline, breaking the trap, because all of us can identify with the obstacles in our lives, because transition is hard to deal with and change. And with basketball and sports, you're always in transition, and you have to strategically, work things out with your teammates and be in sync. And even yourself individually, you have to be at a certain level, like individually, in order to be, to withhold that responsibility of doing your part. And that's the importance of team. And even with this project and the testimony of this project, when I went back to school, everything that I had drawn was in pencil and paper. So, I was fighting going back to art school and starting all over, going back to school and starting all over to learn a total different skill. But, when I was doing the youth empowerment speaking at that time, back in 2008, 2009, I hadn't received my degree. I left college and after my eligibility of playing basketball, and I went to pursue my dream, play overseas. And so with this project, and how it came about while I was in school, when I realized the revelation of my work ethic and how it carried over into school, I realized that, wait a minute, I thought I was preparing for the NBA, but I was actually preparing to share this story through these cartoon characters and my experience to help the younger generation. Actually families, because everyone goes through a transition. And, sports teach you a lot about life, from the discipline, waking up in the morning, pushing your body past the comfort zone, having the mental toughness to be able to play in front of thousands of people, especially when you're playing away, and to be able to sustain that confidence and that focus, and all of those type of transitions and working through the adversity, through your losses and, the hard challenges. Every situation is different and you have to adjust. Even me playing overseas and going to different countries and the language barrier, it was a transition that I had to make, which, I had to, adjust to it. And so that's life. And so within Gym Rat Squad and learning that, my work ethic from sports really helped me in school from an art perspective, and my teacher started noticing my improvement in my art skills, it was like, wow. And so because of the communication part, that's very important too, because when you're within a team environment, you have to work with people and be able to communicate with people to be able to convey or reach a goal. And the way things manifested with other creatives watching my progress and my improvement and my skill level, because they saw the work ethic in me and the improvement. And then the message behind Gym Rat Squad, they saw it, and, people would come to me after, class and be like, man, is this really like for real? How long you been working on this? And, when I shared the amount of years, it's like, wow, you know what? That's a lot of persistence and perseverance and passion. And so I've always been that type of athlete. So that was, rooted in me from the great coaches that I've had, in my past that taught me about the importance of work ethic. And through this project, I think with our younger generation and with technology and things just happening fast, we all lack the patience because we want it to happen now. But the way life works, it works in cycles, and you have to sustain. Like this one coach used to say, you have to keep your composure. You always have to be composed in the most adverse situations, which is the storm. And so, I feel that it's important. And a lot of people ask me like, wow, DeAndre, I've been trying to reach out to my child, or you just help them feel so much more confident because, I share the amount of years that I've worked on certain things and the amount of time and the sacrifice that I've done and, to be able to be highly skilled. And when other people see that, they definitely want to work with you. So, they have this thing in the game of basketball, are you a point guard that someone would like to play with or play for? You always want to be that type of player or that type of person to people want to work with you, not for you, or play with you, not for you. And it all comes back to character and personality. And so I feel like representing the brand, which is, yourself, and, being in a position and having a platform to be able to share a story and to empower people to do better or strive or push past their adversities. My thing is, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. So I help people identify the protagonist and the voice of the protagonist through the character Coach Gouda and his basketball conscience, the Wizard, and also help people identify the protagonist and the voice of the protagonist through Sylvester the Shady Rat and, his actions through the instructions of his boss, Madonna Cataloni, known as Mad Cat. And so this project have a lot of humor, and a lot of people ask me, well, DeAndre, why rats? I said, well, you know what? That breaks the stereotype because you can learn from anyone and you can't judge just because it's rats. Rats are survivors. They're smart. And it's a gym rat. So that represents dedication and work ethic. The squad represents the time you invest into yourself to build your individual, to build your equitable value. So, your boss and your coach, if you want to join the team, the first thing they're going to ask you, can you do this? Yeah. Can you do that?
I think also it's important because I think that there's also another stereotype that states that, oh, if everything was given to you and if you came from a family or a culture or a socioeconomic status where everything was given to you, then it's obvious that you're going to make it. And if you don't come from communities, families, and structures that have opportunities are given to you, well, obviously it's given that you don't. And I think that you could see both ends. You could see in a very, very, the 1% that they're not successful. Although everything was given to them in a silver platter, they're not necessarily successful. They're not happy and they're not successful. They didn't make anything out of themselves. And then on the opposite side, you can also see the group that were from an underprivileged societies or homes, very traumatized, a lot of issues. And then, with the work ethics, with discipline, with some of the important values that they held in their life, created success for themselves. And you can see that all over the world. So I could see where the concept of this being rats actually has a little bit more, at least meaning for me, that it doesn't need to stop you. Of course, you have to probably pass through a lot more obstacle than somebody who has everything, given to them on a silver platter, but that it's still possible, that no matter what the obstacles are, no matter what the traumas are, there's still a possibility. And I think that's not only that you show that for yourself in your life, but you're also bringing that into the animation in order for this to be shown in an entertaining way. So it isn't just, okay, I'm going to come and lecture you, but it's shown in an entertaining way where they can really get it, and they can really feel and attach themselves, or kind of identify themselves with one of these characters that you're actually putting.
Absolutely.
So tell me the two things I want us to definitely talk about before we end. What is the message that you're offering? And then tell us a little bit more about your nonprofit organization, and how could people find you, and if they're interested in your project, to fund you, if they're interested in working with adolescents and children and all of that, how they could find you to talk for them, or cooperate with you in some of the programs that can be there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So for starters, what was the first one? My apologies.
Tell me about your nonprofit organization.
Okay, so Team GRS 501c3 is a branch from Gym Rat Squad, the actual cartoon. And a new development, there's a video game that's also been is in the process of being is that part may come out first. And that's creating something that's fun. Every kid and everyone wants to have fun. They don't want anything that could potentially be didactic, that create this resistance.
Yeah.
But with Team GRS is what I'm passionate about, and that's the nonprofit side, to where I donate my time to visit schools and talk to youth. And also I have an opportunity to share with them the character building curriculum that I have, which is the Gym Rat Squad character building curriculum that covers 5 characteristics. Coachable. I feel that being coachable is very important. Work ethic is very important. Teamwork is very important. Sportsmanship, which is attitude, that's very important. And setting goals. And so I touch upon those different subject matters when I speak to the younger generation, and I have them, really ask themselves, where am I on the scale from 1 to 10, of being coachable? And, everyone learns differently. But if you have this structure, within their learning curve, some people may cross the finish line faster than the other person. But the important thing is to finish the race. And so with the nonprofit organization, that's my passion, to where I kind of go deeper into the meaning of what Gym Rat Squad means, and have a heart-to-heart conversation and help the younger generation understand why they're in school. You're exercising your brain, which is the strongest muscle on your body, and that antagonist, Sylvester the Shady Rat, could actually get to your mind and derail you to do things that you shouldn't be doing, to delay your destiny to the finish line. Coach Gouda, we have to pay attention to those type of people who invest their time into our lives, to give us the confidence to face the traps, to teach us the right skills to be able to face the traps, so we won't, get derailed too much. None of us are perfect, and none of us are going to walk the straight path, but we have to have the stomach to be able to sustain the roller coaster when we go down, and know that things can go right back up.
Yes.
And the faster you realize that things could go back up, you probably won't vomit as you go down, all the way down, or however your stomach may turn, or whatever the case may be, when you, hit that downhill when it speeds. And the important thing through Team GRS 501c3 and breaking the trap is, recognizing what's happening, because it's all in the mind. And they have this thing where, mental illness is really prevalent right now. And so I think Gym Rat Squad and Team GRS 501c3 could actually help a lot of young people overcome that mental, what word am I trying to find?
Like the anguish, because I do hear what you're saying is a lot of people, and look, just not a lot, all of us as human beings, obviously have negative thoughts and negative belief systems. And sometimes as things show up in front of us, we feel powerless against it. If it's too big, we don't know how to do. And if we don't have a mentor in front of us that takes it on, and if people who are around us are also, from the space of, okay, I can't do anything and this is all I can do, then you're right. We go down and we create these belief systems for ourselves as I'm bad, or I'm not worthy, or I'm powerless. I can't do anything, and I'll never get anywhere. And only people who are successful are those type of people. It's not me. So we'll come up with all of these things, which, like you said, as we're going down, these are weights that are pulling us more down. But when we know that there's other ways of thinking, and other people, even with these same obstacles, have the ability to come up, maybe we don't need to go all the way down to come up. We don't have to get hit bottom before we come up again. Somewhere we could, hold the brake and not go all the way down, and then shift and come up, and midway, and then using the techniques you're talking about, being coachable, having the work ethics, being disciplined, owning the things, knowing where you want to go, and really looking at the obstacles and learning going. These skills can help the adolescents to create projects for themselves and learn through projects and what to do. And then when you kind of exercise these types of discipline for yourself, even in small projects, then when life issues show up in front of you, you have some way of handling it. The same way you said, because you had gone to the gym, because you had mentors, because you had experienced these things in the court, in the basketball court, when life got tough, you had the ability to take those skills which you had used there and now shift them and put them to use in other aspects of life. And that's exactly the message that also you're taking, bringing those skills to people and for them to be able to do that. Where can they find you?
I could be found teamgrs.org. And I mean, anyone could leave me a personal message, or if they through my email at info@teamgrs.org. And I mean, if people would like me to come and speak to like any youth group, I'm more than open to doing that. And any donations, people's hearts are touched from what I'm doing in the community and what I'm pursuing to do in the community through Gym Rat Squad and the message. By all means, feel free to send me an email. I have an EIN number, and it's hard for me to ask, but it's easier for me to share. And the more I share, I know, and I'm not quite sure who hearts would be touched, but being in a position of driving where we met, being a driver, I shared those things, and, and the testimony of the hearts that I've touched just by sharing the story, to where they given back to me in return to help this project go to another level. Yeah. So, teamgrs.org is where, I could be reached. My email is there. I mean, anyone is more than welcome to send me an email, and I'll definitely get back to you or to the person who reaches out to you.
Beautiful. Thank you for being on my show. So for everyone who's listening or watching us, please, if you like what you heard from DeAndre Austin and you want to support him in bringing the Gym Rat Squad to the animation, and if you want him to come and speak with the adolescents in the school or your community, you know how to get him, and support him, because I really believe that we do need people who have gone through a lot and they come up, and instead of feeling victimized in the world, they become powerful in the world, and they try to get everybody else a same level of power. So I admire you, DeAndre. Good for you. Thank you for coming to my show. For everyone out there who are listening, create an amazing life for yourself, and I'll be back with you next Monday, actually from Orange County. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
The Inner Voice Show is a dialogue between the host and the listeners about their relationships. This show is not an attempt to assess, diagnose,